Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. A long time no see. So I've been super busy and struggling with things this past few weeks. So lots to tell you, lots to catch up on. So anyway, this is Fantastic Cities by Steve McDonald. So I just wanted to do a quick flip through with you to start off. Um, in case any of you haven't seen this, it certainly isn't a new book. I can't remember what year it came out. It has been out for a little while though. But I just love how you get a mix of detailed pictures and then pictures made into mandalas as well. So you're getting this weird collection of things going on that you don't see in other books. So I really like that. So I'm just gonna colour a page in here for a challenge that I'm doing. Not for the colouring community, for Trefoil Guild. So Trefoil Guild is related to Girl Guiding, and it's the adult branch. It's guiding for adults. So whereas normally I'm volunteering for them, that isn't the case with Trefoil Guild. I'm doing the fun side of it rather than leading the girls. I don't have any responsibilities. It's really cool. So anyway, I'm doing a challenge badge for that, and so Trefoil Guild is 80 years old, and so the badge is to do with that. And one of the challenges was to come up with, to name a country for every letter of the word 80. Okay, so fine. But that didn't really seem like a challenge to me. So, of course, me being awkward like I am, I decided that I would challenge myself to colour a page for each of the countries that I chose. Now, most of that is fairly easy to achieve. I did some pages out of Atlas by AJ Quinnell. So that was good. I did a page out of Europe by Jen Racine. So that's good. But I tell you, the one that's hardest in the word 80 is finding a country that begins with Y. So I did a page out of this book, and I did Yemen. So you saw when I flipped through the books, one of the pages was all glitter gel pen, and that's my Yemen page. So there you go. So anyway, I thought I'd colour this page, which is Turkey, and I thought I'd colour it with you. I'm literally just using a load of generic felt tip pens. So I've got some Bics, but I've also got some just cheapo Poundland sort of things here as well that I'm using, just to get some nice easy colour down. So yes, that is that. So that's what's going on there. And I'm just doing light repetitive pattern, so I'm do one colour, then the next colour, then the next colour, then back to the beginning. Sometimes that doesn't work, it isn't possible, but that's the general gist of what's going on with this page. And when you start it, you think, oh yeah, this is going to be fabulous. And then you get halfway through and think, why did I start? Why the heck did I start this? Flipping horrific nightmare. It looks really good though. I'm really pleased with it. And I've got Trefoil Guild tonight, and we've got to take with us any progress that we've made on the challenge. So I'll be taking all of my coloured pages to share. So I'm excited. I'm excited about that. To see what the other members think of my efforts. So yeah, so that's that. So what have I been up to? Well, my videos kind of came to a standstill because I went away for Easter week, and I just had a lot going on, so I wasn't able to pre-record stuff, which was frustrating, but time just ticked away, and then that was the end of it. I didn't even do most of my packing until the morning that I was going away, so gives you an idea of kind of how busy I was for that. So I went away with my mum. She had a big birthday, so I wanted to take her away for that, and we went over to Norfolk, which is in East Anglia. So Norfolk is, when you look at Britain, specifically England, you see that it's got a big bottom near to where London is. The top of the bottom, oh, that makes no sense. The top of that lump that sticks out, that's East Anglia, the big lump. And the top of that lump is Norfolk. The bottom half of the lump is Suffolk. So we went to Norfolk. And we did a little tour. We just had a hotel for 2 nights, and then we went somewhere else and had another hotel for 2 nights, and then went somewhere else, and we just toured a little bit. So we went to a city called Ely. That was, I'm sorry, people of Ely, but that was disappointing. As a tourist, purely as a tourist, I'm not saying it's not a nice place, but we'd read online that there was an eel trail, which sounded to me like a sculpture trail. Good way to see Ely on foot, so we'd get to see what the place was about. Plus, I get to see all these eel-related artworks. That sounded amazing. I've done these sorts of trails before. I did one around, was it Hull, and that was all fish, and that was cool. I get very, because of my attention deficit, I get bored really, really easily, and I've got like no motivation just to traipse around somewhere. Like that's how it feels to me. Whereas other people are like, ooh, look at this, and I'm like, please, can we move on? I'm bored. And that's where these trails really come in handy for me, because it guides me around, it gives me something to focus on, stops me getting bored, and obviously I enjoy the artwork. Well, there wasn't any. Not really. Wasn't really any artwork. There was some, but when I say some, there was like 15 points on the map, and we saw 2, I think. 2 at most. So that was disappointing. And we didn't see any eels, so that was obviously mega disappointing. Now, Ely is a city, and the reason it's a city is because it has a cathedral. Nothing to do with the size of Ely at all. Ely as a place is quite small. I'd describe it as a town. But because it's got this cathedral, it makes it a city. So we were planning on doing some shopping as well, but there weren't that many shops, and the shops that were there weren't that impressive. So that was also a little bit of a letdown for us. But that all said, the cathedral, oh my goodness, that is fabulous. That has got to be one of the largest, for a start, largest cathedrals I've seen. And the architecture and the stained glass, just incredible. Really beautiful. And it had some interesting history there as well, where the part of the roof had collapsed in the past, so it had been redesigned. In the entrance area, it had got this labyrinth. Sorry, I couldn't think of the word. Labyrinth on the floor. And a labyrinth is a meditation aid. Or I suppose if we're in a cathedral, a prayer aid. And a labyrinth is similar to a maze, but you can't go wrong. There aren't multiple routes. It's one route that you follow round. So the idea of a labyrinth is that you follow this route, which you know cannot go wrong. And that means that you're able to focus on the topic of your prayer. So you don't need to be focusing on where you're going. You're not distracted by making decisions on the path. You just walk. So we've got this beautiful labyrinth on the floor. And it said that the labyrinth, once you've walked the full length of the labyrinth, you've actually walked the equivalent distance to the height of the largest point, the tallest point of the cathedral. I mean, don't ask me numbers, I'm so sorry. But this tallest point was, pretty impressive. So yeah, I really enjoyed the cathedral. It was a beautiful sight, and the history was very interesting as well. So overall, Ely was worth going to. But because we'd got these other plans, it does mean it was a little bit disappointing for us. But the cathedral was fabulous. So that was Ely. While we were staying in Ely, we went to a place called Wickham Fen, which is a National Trust property. Property is not the right word. It's a fen, so it's like wetland. So that was beautiful. We got to see all the waterways. Fens are very different to where I live. So where I live is very hilly, to say the least. I'm on the edge of the Peak District, uh, which is rocky, hilly mountains type thing. And Anglia is very flat. So it was different in that way, but also just all this wetland, completely different to what we have uh, over here in the Pennines. Very, very different. So that was fascinating to see all of that. But that's not the most exciting bit. There were tons of ducks, and anybody that's been with my channel for a little while knows that ducks are my favourite bird. And having been on this trip, they're getting ranked a little bit more highly than they used to. But I'll come back to that. What was I saying? Yeah, so we saw lots of different ducks, so that was fabulous. I just love them. They're so pretty and beautiful and all that. So that was great. But then we also saw Highland cattle, and they are just glorious, aren't they? With their horns and their amazing hair, love them. So we got to see them just roaming around free. And we also saw wild ponies. So there are these conic ponies, Konik, conic ponies, and they're wild ponies. And like you so rarely see wild horses in England. So it was fabulous to see them, and they were just doing their thing. They were beautiful, really beautiful. I see a lot of horses. I live in a fairly rural area, and a lot of times when I go somewhere else, I'm going through countryside, so I see a lot of horses, but they're all owned, and the vast majority are like riding horses, so they're not even just pets. They're trained and they're broken in. You know what I mean? I see some Shetland ponies as well, which is nice, but nothing like these wild conic ponies. So that was really good. Really enjoyed that. From Ely, we went on to Norwich, and that was basically just a city. So shopping. I got some amazing mushroom trousers. That's not code. They're trousers with toadstools on them. So they're thoroughly incredible. So that's them. When we left Norwich, we went on to Cromer, which is a seaside town. That was really pretty. Liked it there a lot. Proper seaside, beach, amusements, shops, rock, all that sort of stuff. So that was really good. We enjoyed that. And while we were over that way, we went to another beach to see the seals. There's probably a couple of beaches, but there's a beach over there where the seals come out and they just, again, do their thing, trying to warm up out of the cold water. So we went to go and see them. So that was really good. My mum hadn't seen seals before in the wild. So it was really wonderful that we were able to go and see them. Now, while we were on our way to see the seals, we stopped off somewhere else. I couldn't tell you where we were. I really couldn't. But they'd got a community duck pond. Now, when I say duck pond, I don't just mean, oh, sorry, there's Saffron. She just, I don't know. She just plonks a bum wherever she wants to go, and you have to work around that. So there you are. So this community duck pond, it wasn't just a duck pond. It was all about the ducks. It was all about the ducks. They'd got loads of duck houses everywhere. They'd got ramps for the ducks. They'd got floating houses for the ducks. They'd got houses on the side. They'd got loads of feeding stations. It was amazing. It was just amazing. And the range of ducks they'd got was just incredible. So I've been thinking about my ducks a lot. So I would always have said in the past that my favourite animal is a sheep. My favourite bird is a duck. But I've been rethinking that maybe my favourite is a duck. Because the other thing is, that you've got to remember, is that birds are dinosaurs. That's a scientific fact. That's not me being weird. Birds are dinosaurs. And dinosaurs obviously rank very highly. So, yeah, things are being rearranged in my mind. I don't know. Ongoing debates in my brain there about that. So come back for updates on that later. So yeah, so that was all just fabulous and amazing. From Cromer, gosh, where did we go then? Kings Lynn. God, I couldn't think then. Kings Lynn, I thought was going to be some amazing city. Oh, with mega shopping, you know, like Birmingham, something like that. Birmingham, Manchester. No, it wasn't. So we'd like planned a whole day shopping, and we couldn't. There was not enough there. So again, a little bit disappointing. But it is on a river. So we went and had a walk down by the river, and that was beautiful. And of course there were ducks. So that was amazing. You know, I love the ducks. So that was really good. Yeah, so that's that. So yeah, so I've been on holiday. So that was nice to have a break. Really good to take my mum away for a birthday. It was a birthday while we were away, so that was good. So I'm on the bit of the picture now where I'm have to find bits of building that are in amongst the trees and not colour trees in this colour. So tricky, but you know, obviously we're getting there. But yeah, so that's what's happening. Still just using these same 3 colours, and that's what I love about these books by Steve McDonald, that you can just treat the images like a pattern rather than trying to colour them proper colours. If you wanted me to colour this realistic, I'd be bored and I wouldn't do it. Whereas treating it like a pattern, just really relaxing and fun. So yeah, I had a great time doing this. And I think Saffron had a good time too. So other things that have been going on. The week before I went away, so the last week of March, very beginning of April, Smudge became very ill. So you know that she's had some mental health issues, whatever that means. I think that she had gone senile, whatever caused that, or it could possibly have been so bad that she'd actually got brain cancer. We don't know. Running the tests to find out exactly what was wrong would have been really stressful for her. She's a very anxious cat. So I'm always very mindful of what I put her through. And the vet said that actually having those results wouldn't change any treatment. We would just know what was wrong with her. And I was like, well, I'm not putting her through that then. That's ridiculous. So that's why I'm so vague. I don't actually know what's wrong with her, because I don't actually know what it was. So she's had that for about a year. It deteriorated at first, but then it stabilised, and she would just go around doing the shouting. She also then struggled with some litter problems. She became constipated, and she had to go on to medication long term, which was then fine. The medication meant that she did go, so that was good. We were happy again. That week or so at the end of March, she really went downhill. She was straining a lot, and she was obviously in pain. She hadn't purred for a long time. She just looked really sad. So we took her to the vets, and the vet gave her an injection, a steroid injection, to help with the pain. And she was going to go back for more tests. But then the next day she was really bad. So we took her into the emergency vet, and we were there in the middle of the night. And because she was on these painkillers, they really knocked her out of it, and she just looked totally drugged up. But when the vet looked, he said it's not a pooing problem, it's a weeing problem. He could see that that's why she was straining. So he thought that she'd got cystitis. So we needed to go back to our vets when the steroids had worn off to start having treatment for that. So the end of that week, the Friday, I went into work late. I dropped her off at the vet so they could get a urine sample off her. Very hard to get a urine sample off a cat when you've got 2 cats. We've tried before and we couldn't do it, so we take her in and they sort that out. While she was there, because she was so ill, we said that we'd have some more blood tests done to check her out and make sure there was nothing else going on. And I was just like, yeah, do whatever we need to do. They put her onto a drip because she was so dehydrated with everything, and she was just obviously really sore. Like her bladder hurt when the vet touched it, and she just looked really fed up of everything. And anyway, she went in and got the phone call at lunchtime that her kidneys were failing and that her bloods were terrible. Now, she'd only had her bloods taken the month before. She wasn't due to have them done again for another 3 months. But just in that time, her kidneys had collapsed and yeah, that was that. The vet said that we could leave her in and they would flush her kidneys through and try and get some fluids into her. But the vet knows how Smudge is, how stressed she gets. And she said, I'll be honest, it's not going to work. Smudgy is 15 and a half years old. So she is an older cat. When we had her, she was the runt of the litter. She's always been small and she's always been a bit more fragile. Not that she'd tell you that. But this kidney thing, it was too much. She was in pain. People were commenting that she looked sad. She hadn't purred for a couple of weeks. And she'd come and sit with you and it's like she just collapsed. She'd just be like, enough. So that Friday, at the very beginning of April, we made the decision and Smudgy is no longer with us now. And I miss her every day. So that's one of the reasons that's the reason why I haven't had any videos up for a while. Like, I hadn't recorded any ready for when I went away because everything was smudge. I didn't have the time or the energy to be pre-recording videos. So that's that, and then while all this has been going on, I can't go into a lot of detail. It's not my story to tell. But a close family member is also very ill. I don't mean like they're in hospital. It's a chronic illness that they live with, and they're not doing very well either. And I'm trying to support them through that, and it's all been a lot. I can honestly say that I'm not really coping mentally with everything. I'm just doing it. I'm just getting up, doing that day, going to bed, getting up, doing the next day, and that's just how it is. So yeah, I've got a lot of thinking to do at the moment. For guiding, I'm a commissioner. I'm kind of in charge of my little local area, and I'm just thinking long and hard at the moment as to whether I can carry on with this commitment. I want to do it. I enjoy it, but I am stressed. And where before I was stressed about smudge and this other family member, I'm now stressed about this family member, and there's just this big hole where smudge should be. So, okay, my stress levels have gone down. You know, I don't have that anxiety anymore. But the positive that she gave, that has gone. And I am part of me is missing, so that there's less of me to cope with everything else. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm also frightened because I know how ill I can be. I know how out of control my mental health can be, and obviously I don't want that. For one thing, I'm needed, so I can't let myself fall apart. But also, it was when I had a breakdown before. It was so bad. It was so scary. I was so lost. I obviously nobody would choose to have a mental breakdown, but I'm frightened of it. I'm frightened of it, and I want to challenge myself. Um, I can do these things, and I won't let my health hold me back. Yada yada. But you've got to know your limits, haven't you? You've got to know your limits. And I'm literally sat here talking to you guys now, thinking, I think I've made my decision. When I took on the role of commissioner, I knew I was pushing it, but I really wanted to give it a go. It was something I really, really wanted to do. Really wanted to do it. But now that I'm here living it, with the other things going on in my life, I don't know. I don't think I can do it. And now Saffron can see that I'm a little bit upset. So she's coming over, and while I'm talking to you, I'm colouring in Kirby Alien Worlds with my Inktense. So it really isn't a Saffron friendly moment. But she's not going to let that stop her. Here she comes. Anything to say, Tiger Boo Boo? Tiger Boo is alright. In terms of health, she's fine. But she's a bit lonely. She's a little bit lonely. She didn't realise, actually, how much she loved her sister. Baby Smudge used to get on her nerves. And she'd be like, Smudge, will you sit still? Smudge, go away. You know, because Smudge was the younger one, and, you know, little sister getting on my wick, leave me alone, trying to have some me time, and all this sort of stuff. And Smudgy loved her big sister. She loved Saffron. She thought Saffron was the bee's knees. And she'd come and she'd cuddle Saffron. And Saffron would be like, oh, for God's sake. Sit still if you've got to sit here then. And what that meant is that you would come in and they would be cuddling each other. And I don't think Saffron realised how much she enjoyed that. And now she's crying a lot. So she's alright. She was never particularly close to Smudge, but they're house cats. So they did spend a lot of time together. So yeah, Saffron's alright. It's been a few weeks now. But she is feeling that loss. So I'm sorry that this colouring chat has had that bit of bad news in it. I did want to tell you I didn't want the baby Smudge to just disappear. you know, she's been on the channel, not as much as Saffron, but she's appeared. She's been mentioned. So I didn't want her to suddenly just not be there anymore. So yeah. So I did want to mention her. And yes, life goes on, but life is not the same. Thank you so much for joining me, and if you've listened all the way to the end, bless you. I do go back to this and add an outline to the building just to make it stand out a little bit more. So you'll see that in my finished pages at the end of the month. I felt that the trees were a little bit too similar to the teal of the building, so I did give it a bit of an outline to try and make it pop a bit more. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for honouring Smudge's memory with me. If you wouldn't mind just saying a little prayer for her. She was a beautiful soul, and I am a much better person for having met her and have her in my life. So I will see you in the next one, which won't be so down. Thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for joining me. And if you are a subscriber, thank you so much for supporting me and the channel. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.